I'm glad I don't drive an automobile. Boy, I can remember when it was 35 cents a gallon and fill a 20-gallon tank up $5.
Retail theft and catch criminals sound like the effectiveness, while others express privacy concerns. We'll explore the technology after the break. California have been rolling out the new tech to combat retail and auto theft, but critics cite privacy concerns. NTD's David Lamb reports.
Law enforcement and city officials have had enough, and they believe perpetrators shouldn't have a license to steal, so enter technology. It reads license plate numbers and converts them to text format, and if there's a match with a plate from a wanted hot list, law enforcement is alerted. Silicon Valley's San Jose implemented automatic license plate readers, ALPRs, throughout the city in October, near top spots like intersections and malls.
It's been incredibly useful as a tool for our police department to do investigations of catalytic converter theft, smash and grab robberies, home burglaries, all kinds of crime.
There are success stories. Local police said in September, ALPRs helped officers with incidents related to stolen vehicles, narcotic-related cases, and approximately 60 vehicle break-ins. Though critics of the new tech fear privacy concerns and how the data could be used.
I generally don't like cameras and when I walk by.
The nonprofit Electronic Frontier Foundation reports that 71 law enforcement agencies in California are sharing data with partners in other states. But the mayor of the biggest city in Northern California's Bay Area says,
"This is just still photos."
The U.S. economy added 150,000 jobs in October, which is less than expected. NTD Business host Don Ma talks to a labor market economist for more insight on the report.
No kidding.
And now
Less
here with
than
me is the
expected.
chief economist at the online job platform ZipRecruiter, Julia Pollock. So, Julia, 150,000 jobs added. To start off, what is the sentiment right now around this number?
Well, this number is lower than most people expected. And even if you account for the fact that UAW workers were on strike during this period, even if you can pop those 25,000 workers back in, this is still a meaningful slowdown in the labor market. And the household survey is even more concerning, with a large increase in unemployment for young workers, an uptick in the overall rate, an increase in the U6 broader unemployment measure of underutilized labor that shows that workers are increasingly unemployed and underemployed.
So last month we got a bit of a higher number. This month a bit lower. So, I mean, are we on a trajectory? Is it clear as of right now that the labor market is cooling down?
Yes, I think it's sort of indisputable in this report. Every single key indicator come in at an annualized 3.2% rate. That's very, very low. 3.5% would be consistent with 2% inflation. And given how quickly productivity is growing, workers really are going to want to see stronger wage gains. These real wage declines are causing real disposable income declines. That's going to put pressure on consumer spending and could put further pressure on the labor market in the coming months.
And speaking of unemployment, the rate ticked up 0.1% last month. I mean, 1 month increase doesn't make a trend, but is there any reason to worry that it could become a trend?
Definitely. The diffusion index fell quite substantially from 61.4% to 52%. That's a meaningful narrowing in job growth. And typically before job growth falls across the board, it falls in specific sectors. And then there's sort of a ripple effect into other industries as well. So a narrowing in job growth should be cause for concern. The manufacturing diffusion index, so the measure of the breadth of job gains in manufacturing, actually was below 50. It went all the way to 42. It dipped well below 50, which suggests that there are more manufacturing industries, sub-industries, losing jobs than gaining jobs right now.
Should we have any comfort in knowing that perhaps if the unemployment rate gets too high, perhaps the Federal Reserve may consider cutting rates and then that could potentially give a boost to the rate there. What are your thoughts here on this dynamic?
Absolutely. So I think we should take enormous comfort from the fact that this slowdown is not taking place because of any real fundamental weaknesses on balance sheets of businesses or households. It is purely an orchestrated slowdown by the Fed. And so if rate hikes end, if the Fed starts cutting rates next year, we will likely see not just a stock market rally, as we're already seeing today on the expectation that that could happen, but we'll see hiring unleashed as well.
All right. Thank you so much, as always, Julia Pollack.
Thank you.
Wagering regulation creating the framework. To qualify for the November 2024 ballot, both initiatives must collect 875,000 signatures within 180 days. Both of the new initiatives have tribal in their names, but it appears that California's Native American tribes are not directly involved, causing frustration among tribal representatives.
right.
These initiatives were introduced by Reeve Collins, a CEO for an online gaming platform, and Ryan Tyler Walls, a founder of an online gaming and money company, although they haven't publicly made a comment. The California Nation's Indian Gaming Association said in a statement, decisions driving the future of tribal governments should be made by tribal governments. They go on to say, while the sponsors of these initiatives may believe they know what is best for the tribes, we encourage them to engage with Indian country and ask rather than dictate. In 2022, most tribes opposed Proposition 27, an online gambling measure, as it threatens casino-owning tribes' finances. A few casino-less tribes support it to combat poverty. Meanwhile, ESPN is entering the sports betting arena with the launch of ESPN Bet, as announced by its parent company, Walt Disney Company. This move comes as Penn Entertainment transforms its Barstool Sportsbook into ESPN Bet, following a $2 billion deal inked in August. The app is set to officially debut on November 14th. ESPN Bet is set to go live in 17 states upon its initial launch date, pending final approvals. Christina Corona, NTD News, California.
And in more sports news, we welcome NTD's Dave Martin. Dave, the first college football playoff rankings came out this week and will come out each week until the regular season ends in a month or so. Now, if only the final rankings dictates the postseason, what's the significance of the rest of these?
There's really no significance at all. To me, these are a bit of a waste of time. You know, when they first announced they would do this years ago, they said they would release these rankings like 6 weeks in advance. But they've shown that these rankings are very fickle. You know, if they have one team ahead of the other 1 week, they might flip-flop them the next week, which they should do, but it invalidates all the ones except for the final one. I mean, take 2014. TCU was third on the next last poll. They go out and beat Iowa State by 50 points, and they somehow fall to sixth because they put Ohio State and Baylor ahead of them after they had big wins. So I think really all it does is gets media like me and you to talk about it.
And shifting gears to baseball, Texas won the World Series this week, though few people tuned in to watch. It was the lowest rated fall classic on record. Can this all be blamed on Arizona's lack of stars?
Yeah, I think that's certainly a big part of it. I mean, they were only an average team in the regular season. They certainly caught fire in the postseason. Now, Texas was at least a very good team in the regular season. They had some star power, Max Scherzer, Marcus Seaman, Corey Seager. Also, Arizona really doesn't have a big fan base yet. They're the youngest franchise still. I think you could also say that Texas' lack of historical success was part of it. They go back to 1961, and this was just their first World Series championship.
Country as the world is already laughing at us.
When we're dividing ourselves from within, while the nation is focused on internal battles, a greater threat looms on the horizon. The Chinese Communist Party.
绝不允许任何外来势力奴役我们。谁妄想这样干，必将头破血流。
They're systematically infiltrating our government. They're stealing our technology. They're attacking our freedoms.
The FBI is opening a new China-related counterintelligence case about every 10 hours.
The Chinese are preparing for war. We Americans are very good at being oblivious as to what our enemies are saying. And we did not pay attention to Osama bin Laden until one day He killed 2,977 Americans.
This is not just a battle of ideologies or just about pursuit of dominance. This is a war that will alter the course of our lives. And if we lose, it will condemn our children and future generations to a world of unimaginable horrors. This is why my show in the Epoch Times is so critical. We're not afraid to take on the Chinese regime head on. And he said, they told me that if I keep talking to you, they're going to hire a hitman to chop off one of my hands. We're not afraid to call out the CCP for their atrocities. We're completely independent. Our only interest is in traditional journalism and reporting truthfully.
Bizarre news today. The Chinese Communist Party is opening up police stations, departments, and working as overseas bureaus all around the world, including right here in New York. You heard that right.
It's time to replace the Chinese regime's propaganda with truth. Get back to the basics. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. All you have to do is subscribe to Epoch TV. You'll get so